Let's talk about cross-sections of medulla oblongata. To know about the ventral surface and the dorsal surface, you can watch the previous video in my YouTube channel. Here we're going to talk about 4 cross-sections, 2 in the open medulla and 2 in the closed medulla. So let's talk about them from bottom to top. First one, at the level of pyramidal decussation. Here's a rough diagram of the cross-section, and this is dorsal surface and this is ventral surface. As you can see here, in dorsal surface we can see gracile fasciculus and cuneate fasciculus, and inside them we can see gracile nucleus and cuneate nucleus. And at the middle we can see the continuation of the ventricle as the central canal. And in the ventral surface we can see the pyramidal decussation. So we can draw it like this. Here's the lateral corticospinal tract and here's the pyramidal decussation. And this is the anterior median sulcus. Apart from them, we can see spinal tract of trigeminal nucleus and spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve. And here are posterior spinocerebellar tract and anterior spinocerebellar tract. In addition, here's the accessory nerve, cervical nerve, medial longitudinal fasciculus, and anterolateral spinothalamic tract. So the most important features of this level are the pyramidal decussation, then the gracile and cuneate nucleus, and then the gracile fasciculus and cuneate fasciculus. Now let's go to the second cross section. It is at the level of decussation of medial lemniscus. Same as earlier, here's the dorsal surface and ventral surface. This is posterior median sulcus and this is anterior median sulcus. So in the dorsal surface we can see the gracile tubercle and the cuneate tubercle, and inside them we can see the gracile nucleus and cuneate nucleus. And in the ventral surface we can see pyramids, and here are medial lemniscus. In this level, most important thing is decussation of medial lemniscus. So we can draw it like this, and here's decussation of medial lemniscus, and these fibers are known as internal arcuate fibers. Same like earlier, here are the spinal tract and the spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve, and then the posterior and anterior spinocerebellar tract, and then anterolateral spinothalamic tract. In addition, the most important thing is, here we can see the 12th cranial nerve. It is the hypoglossal nerve. And now let's move to the third one at Mid Olivary level. Same like earlier, here's the dorsal and ventral surfaces. Special thing here is we can see the 4th ventricle and then inferior cerebellar peduncles and also pyramids. In the midline we can see medial lemniscus and the medial longitudinal fasciculus, and the other special thing is the olivary nucleus. Here are the inferior olivary nucleus. And in this cross section we can see the 10th cranial nerve. It is the vagus nerve and it originates from 3 nucleus. In addition, we can see medial vestibular nucleus and inferior vestibular nucleus, anterior spinocerebellar tract. So here's the last cross section at the level of dorsal and ventral cochlear nuclei. Same like earlier, we can see the 4th ventricle and the inferior cerebellar peduncles and the 2 pyramids. In the midline, medial lemniscus and the medial longitudinal fasciculus, and the most special thing is the dorsal and ventral cochlear nuclei. Here also we can see the inferior olivary nucleus. These are olivocerebellar tract. In addition, we can see medial vestibular nuclei and the inferior vestibular nuclei. Here also we can see the hypoglossal nerve and dorsal vagal nucleus. Apart from them, this is anterior spinocerebellar tract. That's all for this video. I hope you understood it well. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe.